When you take a look at Constant's oeuvre, in the beginning he takes on a lot of influences of artists working at the same period of time. But at the CoBrA period you see also some connections, of course, to Picasso, for example. He made a lot of paintings that refer to the scorched earth. And there's also a painting in the selection that's called The Fire. And in this painting I think you see perfectly well that he took a good look at the Guernica. But when you take a look at the later years, before he starts the Nueva Babilonia project, then he takes a look at the style artists, for example, and somewhat later he also takes a good look at the Russian constructivists. So I think there are a lot of influences already in the early stages of his career. And later in New Babylon I think you see a lot of influence of of the ideas of Guy Debord, for example, of the situationists. I wanted to put his work and his project New Babylon in a context because a lot of the time people say, well, he was this artist who made the only utopian project in the 50s and 60s, and he was the only one working with his ideas. But I think a lot of artists work with the same subjects in that period of time. And I think as Matta is concerned, for example, this is an artist he was an architect first. And he told in an interview once that he wanted to build or wanted to paint the architecture that he couldn't build. So in his paintings you see a lot of the structures that relate a bit to the structures Constant paints later in his career in his paintings. So I think Constant took a very good look at what was happening around him. He also said it in an interview once that he wanted to put all the ideas of his time in one piece of art. Before the 50s it was very common for a period of time to be avant-garde and to think in those big ideas about the world and about society and things like that. And in a way you can say that New Babylon is the last big project that is of this ambition, of this idealism. And I think you can never relate better than to such an idealistic piece of art. I think a lot of artists nowadays try again to be such engaged artists and be political as well. Don't be ashamed of being political and take a standpoint or reflect a view on this world and how we can live together. And I think it's very daring to do so. And I think a long time after New Babylon this was not done to do that as an artist. And I think the meaning of this project lies in the fact that a lot of artists today feel strong because of a project like this. With the Gypsies, he was very much inspired by their way of living and their free way of living and their playful way of living. And of course as well by the partying and the guitar playing. And these are a bit cliches, but of course when they fit in this whole schedule of development towards this New Babylon project, it really makes sense.